Mhm, mhm. All right, and we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you are watching this live. This is the voice and the face of Dr. Toluola Binto, CEO, founder of Living Spring Family Medical Center here in the beautiful city of Mansfield, Texas, where we believe in helping our patients live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. I'm excited today, yet again, on this beautiful Thursday morning to discuss another health topic. And today's topic is going to be Doc, I have a special needs child. How can I navigate his care? And I'm doing that with the one and only Dr. Violina Bhattacharyya. How are you, Doc?
I'm good. Good morning. I'm so
Good morning.
excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. And I have to say a big thank you because I know you're busy. So I appreciate you taking the time out to come and talk with us. For those who are watching live, please put hashtag live. For those who are watching replay, please put hashtag replay. It helps me acknowledge you while we're doing this. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to you, Doc. Please introduce yourself to the viewers. Who are you and what do you do?
Thank you. So I'm Dr. Violina Bhattacharyya. I'm a pediatrician. I practice in Miami, and now I'm in Hollywood, South Florida. I've been practicing in South Florida for over a decade now after graduating from residency at Jackson Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
And I just moved and started my own practice this year, which I'm excited about. And so before that, I was employed in a small practice in Miami.
Awesome, awesome. So I was going to ask you, why do you do what you do? And I want to ask a specific because I see you have a niche, or should I say, a love for special needs kids. What got you so passionate about this population?
Yeah, it's two things. Are we echoing? Oh no, we're good. That's right.
I I think we're good. Are we? Are okay. So our viewers, for those who are watching, are we echoing? Hi, Dr. Una. But I can hear you well. I don't hear any echo.
Right. Yeah. So it's two things that dragged me into this. I never thought I would be like this would be a thing that I would love doing. It was first when I went into the practice that I was employed before. Almost all, I can say it's not an exaggeration, almost all of my kids had some special need. And also, it was from personal experience. My daughter, at some point, had a special need and need for therapies. And at that time, I realized how hard it was to navigate the system. Your child would get a diagnosis, and then you'd be like, okay, here are the list of specialists that you need to go to. And you schedule the appointment, the specialist sees you, and then they schedule this, refer you to a therapist, to refer you to another person. And you have all this list of referrals. And even me being a physician, I was like, so who is going to hold my hand and tell me I'm doing it right? I mean, it was like so unnerving. First, you have something, a diagnosis that throws you off. You never plan. You have a baby and you have a vision. You're going to have this baby grow up, go to college. And then suddenly you have a different diagnosis that you need to cater to. And then you have all these people in your life that you have to navigate. And the healthcare system is not easy. So even me being was like, who's going to tell me I'm doing it right? So that's when it got into that. I learned from my own experience, and then with the special kids, like when you bring the parents in and people, you ask them like, how are things going? They're like, I don't know. We go to the therapist, they do this, that, and then they're going. And so I realized, that, you need to step in, and this is something I could help with, and I
Mm.
enjoyed. It went from there.
Awesome, awesome. And I like how, your personal experience also helped you develop a love for this because you can also personally relate to some of the challenges that parents of special needs kids have. Dr. Una did say we have a little echo. I don't hear it. Um, I don't. Are you on speaker or using earphones?
No,
I don't see.
I'm
You're using
girls.
you're on speaker. Okay. Um, we'll go ahead. No worries. No worries. I don't hear the echo. I'm hoping our viewers don't hear. She said a little echo, so we're good. All right. So next question is this: Who is a special needs child, and how do you diagnose one?
So a child who needs an additional service, any kind of extra service that a child, any child needs, you would categorize that child as needs special service, addition to the typical physicals and sick visits. If you have
Okay.
to go to a specialist, if you need a device, if you need a therapist, any extra help, you would say, oh, my child has, and any accommodation or any support to live your life with is a child with special needs.
Okay. And who how is a child diagnosed with special needs, and how early would you say can the diagnosis be made?
Yes, so it becomes from right from the day you leave the hospital, you come with all your, well, it could be that the same day that you have go home with all the list of things that you need for
Okay.
special services. You might be diagnosed at that time, or it could be any time in your life, right up to you when you leave for high school. So anything
Mhm.
can be diagnosed. You can like say ADHD. Some kids are diagnosed with ADHD even in high school, or so that's a different special needs. So it could be from any time in your life, any point, anything changes, and your child needs an additional support. You can think that this is my child is a little special, different, and has a little challenge, and we need the support. So you go from there.
Okay, so it can be any time during childhood and even sometimes into adulthood. Interesting.
Mhm.
That's good to note. Now, who can diagnose a child with special needs, and what happens after the diagnosis?
So yes, the diagnosis usually I would say the pediatrician because we are the first line of meeting your child when after leaving the hospital. You don't get diagnosed with special needs in the hospital. You're discharged. You are required. You are asked, and you should have a special pediatrician for your child, and that you have scheduled visits. And on those visits, the doctor usually screens you for different how you're developing, you're speaking, are you having any issues at home, if you have need any help. And during those visits, usually it's the pediatrician who picks up on any difference, any change in your development or your growth while you're growing. And then that's you get decide at that point whether we can do some additional support at home, like have a plan, do what we can at home, come back, or we just need it's at a point in your life where you need to go see a specialist or meet a therapist that can help you develop in the direction that you could, and you can live your life at your full potential.
So that's why it's very important for parents to take their children in for their checkups,
Mhm.
because they check your developmental milestones. What are you able to do at a certain age? 2 months, 4 months. If there's a lag, if there's a delay, that's a good time to start to introduce the idea of, your child may need additional services to help him or her fully develop their potential, because a lot of times, I see a big concern for the labeling. I don't want my child to be labeled with this, but I would like to encourage parents that it's a good time to find out if your child needs additional resources, and the earlier it started, the better. Do you agree, Doc?
Yes, and this is a very important point that you bring up because when I say my own children, you don't want to go around telling people, you know what, I have a child with special. I mean, this is kind of a sensitive issue. It's a challenge. It's already can be overwhelming depending on how much support you have. So this is a relationship. It's like any other private, like in the health, the issue with the doctor, which is like protected with protected health information.
Right, right.
You have a plan with your doctor. This is how much I want to reveal to the school. This is how we need. This is only how much we are going to tell anybody because and to help me with my child's additional care. We
Mm,
do not have to go writing on all everywhere and telling people we do not need. We only tell people as much. We divulge only as much as is required to help your child get all the supports, all the services they need. And even this is a protected health information period. So it stays in your records, but it's like depending on which direction, it's a discussion between the parent and the doctor. So we of
wow,
course have to
you
understand.
stressed a very important point. It's a partnership. You take into account what's important to the parent, what's important for the child, and you guys come up with a plan, a strategy, especially as the child is transitioning through school and whatever else. So I love that, because that's very important to making the parent feel at ease. So it's good to find a doctor who's able to work well with you, like Dr. Violina Bhattacharyya. If you want to fly all the way to Florida to see her, she's awesome that way. And so that's very important, because you want a doctor who will partner with you in the care of your child and take into consideration some of the concerns you have about privacy and exposure and diagnosis and all of that. Okay, but I would encourage parents to not allow that to be a hindrance to getting the care your child needs. That's very important. All right, doc, next question. So what happens after diagnosis? You said you send them off for referral. What happens after that?
Yes, so now we have this, let's say we have this child with a diagnosis, which throws off the parents, right? So you need to take a deep breath, take a step back, re-evaluate things. And I want the families listening to this to know that it is not something they did wrong that made
Mm,
changes in their life. It's always,
mm,
every child comes packaged. So you get the referral. So we have a plan with the doctor. When you have a lot of long list of referrals, so usually people don't know the insurance. Sometimes you call the insurance, the first thing I encourage my patients to do, because they assign a care coordinator to help you call these different services, because now this insurance has to find, you have to find this specialist who has that specific insurance. So when they have a care coordinator who can help find the specialist in the network, it's easier for the parents. So you work together with the care coordinator. Always ask your families with special needs with additional challenges, do you have a care coordinator? Check your insurance.
mm,
Sometimes, if you're lucky, you have a pediatrician that has a setup, which I eventually want to do myself as well. You
mm,
can work in the office, you can have a care coordinator who can actually help you schedule your appointment, help you keep reminders. So we starting a plan with the pediatrician of how to navigate this whole thing and how to come back, when to come back to your pediatrician with all the answers. We send you to the specialist and you go to the specialist. It's not that our job is done. Also, we want the parents to know that when you go to the specialist, you have to know what the specialist told you. We want you to come back to us from the specialist and tell us, this is what I understood. And we get the reports from the specialist. We then go and sit together and go over it all over again to say, yeah, did you understand? Did you understand the plan? And this is, I am going to be your the go-to person where you come to, and we will discuss everywhere you go. You come to me, you tell me, and we keep track of all things, and we help you in this journey. You do not need to be alone. You do not need to feel overwhelmed or like stressed. So
wow. You mentioned a lot of things here that I want to highlight. Number one, you said asking for a care coordinator from your insurance. So you can actually call your insurance company and say, I would like to get a care coordinator to help coordinate or get help with access to the services that my child needs. That is
mhm.
very, very important, because we're teaching our parents to be able to advocate for their child's care and also build their team,
Yeah.
right? So that's awesome. And then you also talked about after the referral, you then have the follow up where you ask the parent, like, what did they say? Like, what was the feedback? What are next steps? And make sure that that is understood. Because we do see it a lot of times we send
Mhm.
patients and they come back, well, they did stuff. What did they do? Well, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
And so coming back to your core, which is you, the pediatrician, it's very, very important to make sure that everything is understood as far as the game plan for the child. I love this, doc. This is great. Now here's my question. My next question to you, though. Um, so what would you say a good team for a special needs child is made of? I know you made mention to. I want to make sure we don't miss anyone. You mentioned a pediatrician, a
Yes.
specialist, and you mentioned, of course, you as a primary care giver, the pediatrician. Um, are there any other team members you would advise for a parent with special needs?
Yes, depending on what kind of special needs it is, it could be now we are talking. The special needs doesn't necessarily have to be a kid with who needs like a big team. It could also be the child, the pediatrician and the parent and the school. This is important. We cannot forget the teachers in the school. They make such a huge difference in our lives. But it also means if it's kid who has assistive technology, needs technology nowadays, this is a very important thing. Our lives have changed. We have so much help just from technology, so that we would have a nurse who would we can, based on your insurance,
Mhm.
you can find a nurse that home that can come to the home to help you with your technology. That's a very important person in your team. Or if you do not use technology, you need help, then you can get a aid, home health aid. That's a person in your team. The therapists who might would help you with all kind, whether physically or with or getting to or who's helping you with the day-to-day stuff. That's called the occupational therapist, who will help you to navigate your activities of daily living, like even small things like dressing, tying your shoelaces, pouring a cup of water. So that's occupational therapy. And then your speech, if you need speech therapists, they are a very important part of your team that we all need to communicate with each other. So you might need a psychiatrist, a psychologist. So this is our whole team, the specialists, and of course the parent who is the educator and the pediatrician who should be your rock because they are ones.
Awesome. Wow. So it could be extensive, it could be small, depending on the need of the child. I'm taking notes. This is very good. Thank you, Doc. Now, what are some of the common challenges you see with the parents of special needs kids? And I asked that question because obviously you mentioned it before. It could be overwhelming. But let's talk like maybe two. What are the top two challenges you see for
Yeah.
parents? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, the biggest challenge I say is being educated, being knowing your rights, what you need, what you can get. And second is coverage, insurance coverage. You might not, it becomes so difficult when your insurance doesn't cover some of the needs that you need. And then finding your community there will be resources of course, when one door is closed, there will be another door that opens. So we definitely keep in touch with all your helps because insurance coverage sometimes can be a huge challenge to getting what you need for your child. So that, and then yeah, those are the special things. And then of course there will be a whole lot of other things like natural disasters, COVID, and even in the Florida, the hurricanes. How do you keep your track of your team, in touch with your team, and keep your devices working if there's an electricity outage, if there is COVID, the nurse doesn't come to the house. So it's can be a lot of huge challenges. It is not easy to be a parent of a special needs child. You are special when you're the parent because like raising a child itself is a big deal, right? Living and then raising a kid who needs additional help. So
Those are
getting
the
that
common challenges.
very
Wow.
important.
So what would you advise on how to parents on how they can thrive even with the challenge? Especially, you've also been in the shoes of
Mhm.
that too. What would you advise parents on how they can thrive even with the challenge of raising a special needs kids? Let's see, 4 tips. What would you say, Doc?
Most very important. Don't forget, it's not you. It was not something you did. Take care of yourself. Very important. You do not want to be, we as parents, we forget ourselves, our own needs, and then we burn out, we get depressed, we get
Mm,
exhausted. Very important is keep track, yeah, that you're taking care of yourself, and then make sure you keep in touch with a pediatrician. Definitely you need a doctor. You could, because of insurance changes, it's a very difficult, it's a big challenge that a doctor might change, a pediatrician might change. So you try to like have the same position all the time, and then keep track of your people, have your team in place, make a list, make sure you have a folder, the document folder and appointment book. Those things are going to be your friends. So we have that important thing so that you can keep track of your appointments. If your child needs a lot of help, you have to write it down because you're going to forget. You're going to be overwhelmed. You don't know what you're going to do. Every time you go to your doctor's appointment, you have these two things:
mm,
your
mm,
appointment book and your folder with all the documents that your child has, goes wherever, whoever gives you any paperwork. Just keep it in a file. Take it with you. If you don't remember, it is your peripheral vision. You don't have to think. Just put it there. Take it with you. You give it to your doctor. They're going to look at it and they're going to help you. So that's very important. And of course, having the other important thing is having a backup plan. Make sure for anything I have this in place. I am good right now. But what happens if anything changes? If there's no electricity, where do I go? For example, in Florida, I can see that you have to look at hurricanes. You have to have a backup plan. Where should I go? What shelter should I call when there is a power outage? So then, who are the people in my life who are going to help me if my team, like my number
Very
one,
important.
very important.
Yes, your team member can also be family members, can be friends too, and they can be part of your backup plan. And building that team is very, very important. Sometimes I think as parents, we feel like we have to do everything by ourselves for us to be great parents. But as we're hearing now, it's also important to build and nurture a team to better support us and support our kids. So this is powerful, Doc. I'm so excited that you came on. Now, people are watching and they're saying, "I like this doctor," and I hear she's opening her practice or she's about to open her practice. Where can people find you, Doc? How can people connect with you?
So yeah, I'm in Florida, and my they can find me at my Instagram at Wonderkidz Pediatrics. That's the name of my practice. It's Wonderkidz with a D, and for it's one word, Wonderkidz Pediatrics, and in Facebook it's Wonderkidz Pediatrics. And of course, people in Florida, we are taking patients right now. Our phone number is 954-799-4086. And the website is www.wonderkids.life.
I love it. I love it. The Wonder Kids, WonderKidz. Love it. Love it. Love it, Doc. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being so resourceful. I appreciate you. So thank you. Thank you. Thank
So,
you. Um, that being said, thank you for those who watched live and in replay. Please share this with those who could find this useful. You're allowed to tag people in the comments so they can watch it and ask questions as well. I'm sure Dr. Violina will be happy to answer as well, and I can chime in as needed. Thank you for watching. And if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and a passionate family physician here in the Mansfield area, I am she. There's my hand. I'm she. Have a good one, okay? Bye.
bye. Have a good day.
You too.